beautiful people. Welcome back to the season finale episode of the Getting Older podcast. It's a podcast where it's about mental health, the challenges and trauma, but also the art of healing. I'm Ivory, I'm your host, and yes, I said it. This is the season 2 finale of Getting Older podcast. Whew, let me tell you guys, I am feeling a lot of emotions today, and I don't really know how to articulate the words of saying thank you guys for literally tuning into this podcast. You know, I felt like when I started this podcast in October of 2024. And I remember I said to myself that I want to create conversations with my peers and other people, and I want to inspire people. You know, I feel like we live in such a heavy world, and I feel like we go through so much, but we don't have any outlet to talk about it. So I wanted to literally bring the conversation and talk about it. And I have to say that I feel like I executed very well this season. And I want to just thank every single person that came on this show and, you know, the people that watched consistently. Shout out to Tamora Taylor, by the way. I have to say that she watches every single week it comes out, and she always texts me about every episode, you know? But I just want to say, guys, thank you guys again so much for watching. And also Flexwork Studios, man. Let me tell you, Ankur, Julian, Eric, Ludwig, and so much more behind the scenes. They made this podcast happen, you know? I remember literally coming in January of 2025, and I remember saying to myself, like, damn, like, this is my studio home. And 19 episodes later, thank you. I really do appreciate you guys for being patient with me. We work together, and I'm really honored to be here, you know? So, yeah. Now, as we are getting into our season finale, as you can tell by the title of this episode, you know I had to bring my favorite guest on. You know, this is literally like, to end the show off, I had to bring this person back. This is someone that I love so much, and I feel like this person deserves his flowers in so many ways, okay? So let's dive in real quick, all right? For the season finale, I wanted to sit down with someone who's been a big part of my life for over a decade. My brother, my friend, Steven Brito. Steven isn't new to the podcast, guys. You heard him before during some of our group conversations, but today is his solo debut. And honestly, I couldn't think of a better person to close out this season with. Steven recently got married and entered a brand new chapter of his life. Through the years, he's been someone I've always admired for his loyalty, growth, perspective, and the way he shows up for his people he loves. Today, I want to talk less about what you do and more about who you are. I wanted to dive into the lessons that shape you, how you define success, the moments that challenge you, what marriage has taught you, and what getting older has looked like from your perspective. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to introduce again Steven Brito.
How's it going?
Hey, bro.
Nah, I love your energy always, man. How's it going?
We here. We alive, man.
We here.
Mike.
The favorite title. That favorite title is gonna spark a couple nerves, but I appreciate me being the favorite.
Yeah, be all right. But listen, bro, I want to say, no, honestly, though, you know what's so funny, though? Ever since, like, our episode came out, it's two things. I always get this one joke from my coworker. And because he saw the episode with you and Brandon, he's like, can you even do a push-up? Like, when I tell you, this man always says this to me as the joke. And I'm like,
listen, Ivory came a long way in his fitness journey. And I need y'all to understand, like, Ivory has never been able to, like, even, I think what did we do? We did the sprint medley, and we did, I think it was like the mile.
Yeah.
And Ivory, like, pushed himself to do that and, like, barely survived it. But I will say one thing, although I made a joke about push-ups, Ivory does not shy away from no challenge. So, like, listen, regardless whether it's physical, mental, or anything, like, that's one thing you gotta admire about Ivory, right? That's a strength in itself. So, yeah, like, whoever's making jokes about your push-ups, let them know you could bust out 20 right now. So,
I do on the spot. Stop playing. I'm like, I'll stop teaching for a second. Like, you want to see this?
It was earned. It was earned. It was earned. Yeah.
No, but I'm telling you though. But like, also, like, you know, one thing I always think about you, because you're not a social media guy.
No.
So for me, it's just like, you only have to post when you have to post. I know that. But I always said this about our friend group. I only feel like strongly, you and Kaylee, honestly, are the only two people that I know that can do social media and be successful from it. Because the thing is, like, you have such a comedic timing. And for me, it's like, I don't even think you really realize that. Because Steven, he will tell the same story over and over again. But you get different versions of it, and you're just like, it's like you're hearing it for the first time.
Listen, you got to add a little spice to every story you tell. And the thing is, some people I think I got that, when we were younger, people be like, oh, shit, he changing it up again. But what's a story if there's no drama to it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, Yeah.
No, but like you're so funny, and I feel like that's what I'm saying. Because I always wonder, like, where do you get your sense of humor from?
Damn. Oof. Sense of humor. This is gonna be a little deep, but like, you know, when you go through life and like trials and tribulations, sometimes, you know, you hide in certain shells. Humor was like one of the shells I hid in. As deep as that sounds, or
That's
like,
real though.
I don't want to get deep after like being so like joyful, but yeah, no, I think like a lot of the humor comes from, you know, I guess hidden pain, but not. I guess that's kind of like one of my coping mechanisms, I would say. Yeah. So yeah, probably that's where. But I got good at it. Right? I make people laugh. Like making people laugh makes me happy. So
you do.
At least I think it does.
No,
But
you
yeah,
do.
yeah.
You make me laugh every day, bro. But no, I want to dive in real quick. So I want to say we've known each other for about 12 years.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember our first time meeting?
Yes, 1000%. We met at listen, we're from Plainfield, New Jersey. Everybody, right? So I'm going to use terminology and everyone across the world might not know. But we used to throw tellies when we were in middle school.
Right.
Right? And I met a kid, very scrawny, high top. Probably the only one with a high top fade in our class.
At that time, yeah.
At that time. Like literally the only one. You had like literally to the point where it was like Fresh Prince. Like I think that was your name at one point. Or we used to call you that.
No, I kind of had a name similar to that, but yeah.
It was like Fresh Prince, like Fresh Prince. But I remember you coming up to me like, yo, Steven, I'm like, who the hell is this kid? Like, I have never met you a day in my life, but he knew my name. He knew everything about me, but like, we just shared friend groups. And we were young, we were middle school. Like, but we were at a telly, and I think you came up to me, we spoke. I was very arrogant when I was younger. I'm always gonna admit that. Never gonna shy away from the version of myself that you know I grew from. But that's where we met, a hotel.
Yeah, that was our first time meeting, and then I'll say like our reintroduction of how we met. I remember is like I met you a little since I was like again from Brandon because Brandon and I was on the debate team, and I remember he brought you up before and whatnot. And I was like, oh my god, yeah, Steven, I thought about you. And I remember I saw you at the basketball game.
Yes,
and that's when I sat near you and talked to you really like for like the first time in a sense since like that telly that was happening. And I remember I said to you just like, so how you been, stuff like that. Like, you know, I heard about you and Brandon are cool, this and that, nah. And he was like, yo, my mom's out of town. I'm about to throw something at the house and this and that. You trying to come over or whatnot? And I was just like, oh yeah, little vibe, just like, okay. Like literally, he was trying to throw like a low key like at that apartment complex.
I was trying to throw a banger. And yeah, thank God that never happened.
I know.
Oh my God.
Imagine your mom be like, what the fuck?
Listen, I had some people that was definitely not for me when I was younger, right? Yeah. But yeah, no, I thank God that just never happened. But yeah, no, I remember that. I also remember like another like factor of like what got us close is like when Brandon introduced all of us together because it was 4 of us. But in track, I think we would go eat after track or like even like go buffet. Through like track practices. Like we got to know each other more. So that's like another memory I can like pin back to like when I first met you. Brandon did come up to me and said, yo, I actually like met somebody that I share a lot of things in common with, and I don't really feel like and Brandon, as you guys may know, you had a podcast already with him. He doesn't share a lot of like traits with a lot of people, nor does he open up to a lot of people. So the minute he told me that, it's like even in like you can kind of tell like if he's dating someone who he's into or who he's not, right? Just because we know him. But the minute he said that about you and like he said such great things, I was like, oh, this guy must be amazing. Then I met you and then we argued.
So that's what I want to also really tap into. So here's the thing about you and I. We did not really like hit it off like that. And that's the honest to God truth. I always kept saying, because here's the thing. I never, and I said this before to you guys, I never really had like male friendships. You know, I was in like a previous thing before. And like, we never really like cracked jokes on each other and stuff like that. And also I didn't really go to like the Maxons and Playful High School or whatever. Not. So I was also like around like a lot of female friends for me and like I had some male friends, but like we weren't doing that. So every time you would crack jokes on me, I'm just like to myself, like, does this man not like me? Like, what, like he will like go in and then I will like, you know me, I ain't a bitch. So I'm going to keep saying how I say. He don't care. He's like, nah. And we go back and forth so many times in just fights and bro.
When you grow up, especially like I was the only Latino shortest one in a basketball team. And when you grow up with like a bunch of testosterone around you, you gotta defend yourself in every way, whether it was like we used to tap, slap box, right? Tapping and slap boxing, same thing. We used to like like you mentioned, like just stone or like, you know, I can't use specific terminology because like it's a podcast, so it's like, but just in general, right? We used to crack jokes.
Yeah,
Crack jokes is the
basically.
terminology. My fault. But like that was just so normal at that time. Like at that day and age, like if you cracking jokes, like it also in a sense is like very stupid, very middle schoolish.
But that's, you know, we're
but
immature.
yeah, we're human. But like I think like I would do that to anybody either way. But like with you, it was heightened because you're like, yo, we just met. What the fuck?
What we doing?
Like, but like I used to do it with almost everybody. You know what I mean? And I almost became unbearable to be around sometimes because I was like always seeking that, like, I guess, and everyone does when they're in middle school. Those that not recognition, but like, you know, when you crack jokes well, everyone laughs and everybody, oh, you know, it's just something stupid, very very petty, middle schoolish.
Like that class clown.
Yeah, that class clown. Kind of, yeah, like almost like that. But I don't know why, like, because I was always very like nerdy, studious, right, type of person on one end of the spectrum, and then the other end of the spectrum, I was like almost a jock, but not really, right? Because I also didn't like, and I'm proud, I can admit this, like I also didn't like succeed as much in sports, right? But like, I mean, to me, in my eyes, like I've hit certain goals and when I was younger in sports that I'm proud of, but right, so like and I only brought that up is because like social groups kind of shape young people, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like it was shaping me in the wrong way, right? Where I was trying to be something I wasn't. And that's why, like, I think the version of that immediately met you, and you were like immediately like, nah, we going slapbox. And me and Ivory slapboxed probably like 50 times. I'm talking like every time we saw each other, it would be argument, slapbox, argument, slapbox, argument, slapbox, like nonstop.
No
and then
mercy.
at one point, I think, you know, they got mad at me because like I had I slapboxed someone else in our friend group, and I hit him so hard, we kind of stopped slapboxing. Like I literally said, yo, no more slapboxing.
Pause.
This is
no,
it.
This story makes me so fucking mad because this happened at my place too. I'm sorry. Like every time I hear this story, I get so pissed off. Again, no mercy on my end, bro. But like, and here's the thing. I like when we slapbox, I'm not the best fighter in the world. I'm well aware of that, and I can admit that, and that's okay. But like when I tell you, like I'll get hit, I'll get smacked, I'll punch or whatever. No, we had the gloves before, stuff like that. But when this one time we had this person in our group, Steven smacked him so hard, and he was there. Oh.
Yeah.
And literally, like they made us group hug. I'm like, what the fuck is this fucking shit? I was so mad. I was like, what?
Yo, because you don't want to. It was bad. And on top of that, you and Brandon on the side like, oh, like over there gassing
Not the sound effects.
So I'm just saying, like, it just made it such a
no,
like.
because that was a powerful smack.
Yes,
that was literally like the Will Smith smack to Chris Rock. Stop playing, dog. You literally fucking Chris Rock that ass.
But that's what I'm saying. I think there was like, all right, we're getting too physical. Like in my head, I'm like, damn, our friendships have always been built on like, yo, we're irritated with each other, slapbox. But that's why I be telling you, like, you never shy away from a challenge. So like, listen, Ivory just said he's not the best fighter, and I think over time, you know, he learned a couple too. Like,
had to,
right? He learned something, but like he'll never shy away from no fight. You could be like 210 brolic, he's still gonna fight.
I always say this too because I used to get in bar fights in LA. So I always say it all the time. I remember my friend was like, "You about to get your ass beat?" So I'll get my ass beat proudly. I don't care. Have I? Maybe. But like a lot of times, I just always, no matter what, unless you bring a knife or a gun to the fight, then I'll shut the fuck up completely. Because I'm not losing my life over no bullshit. That's just me. But moving forward though, like I said, like when it comes to like you, like at that time, I remember at first I'm like, what is this? What is this? But I remember like we really, I don't know what it was. I feel like more to like our friendship, I'll say, because we also did 96 productions together. And what I loved is that I remember just asking, it was like 3 of you guys at the time. And I remember asking you guys like, hey, I just left a studio that I was doing photography and videography with, but I really love this thing myself. And I wanted to really continue it. And again, not knowing you guys, probably like 2-3 months, I'll say at that time, it's like, do you guys want to be part of my production company? And you guys did. And the thing is what I love about with you and Brandon, you guys executed and took it very seriously. You're such a business mind, because first of all, you sound empanadas and all this stuff like that as like a kid and shit like that. And I just kept saying to myself, you have that business money management. And I love that about you. And then also when it came to camera and stuff like that, you really enjoyed it. And I really appreciate that, man.
I think that came from your studio. I mean, your company for sure, right? Like I think 96 Productions did definitely
You got it closer. I said
helped me develop like a creative eye, understanding like visual. Like I can look at certain pictures and understand what's wrong, what's not from an editing lens because of you, and like just the lessons I learned. But from a business lens, right? I'll be honest with you. When you first brought it up, I was like, "Oh, more money. Hell yeah, I'm doing this." Right?
Hell yeah.
Because by the way, I used to make at like, well, it was 2013, 2012, and I was flipping empanadas, and I was making like $200 to $300 a week, right?
Yeah, you making money.
And I was caking. I think when you brought this business proposition to us, I immediately said yes because it's definitely a different side of business is also like business with others, right? That interdependency kind of mindset of like, I can get money myself. I could keep selling these empanadas and be all right. But like, we also like invested a little bit, right? We invested in t-shirts. We invested in cameras. We did a lot together. So like those little skills, like also like it was 4 of us that we had to split money with.
Yeah.
Contracts with. We had like a bunch of different like, and I'm gonna say this right now. Ivory could have did all this by himself.
I could have.
I'm talking like caked all the money by himself. He had sweet 16s, weddings, photo shoots, so much he could have done by himself, but he always broke bread. And I think that says a lot about you as a person, which is something I always understood as young. When I always understood when I was young, was like, this guy could be doing this by himself and he's choosing to like help us, right? Not only from a financial perspective, but also bring us into his world and see if we love it. And I think, to your point, me and Brandon immediately fell in love with it because it was like, damn, we could make money off something that we enjoy. And like that is what kind of like immediately made us think like, damn, 96 Production can be big. We can really do this. And then eventually we got known as like 96 Productions, 96, right? So
man.
I want to ask you that question. How was it asking 3 strangers, right, to join their company and then see the instant success? And I would say it wasn't success from like a global perspective, of course not, but like local. We were really known, and we were infiltrating local photography production businesses, right, immediately. So how did you feel when that happened?
So when that happened to all of us, I don't know. Like I remember just being like, I was just in a group with people, and I was at a time in my life where it's like, damn, like, what am I gonna do? And I know I could do it by myself and stuff like that, but for some reason I was just like, you need a team, you need a village to help you carry stuff like that. So for me, I was just like, well, let's see where it goes, But I remember just like asking you guys, and the thing is like, what I appreciate is like there was like moments where it's like, okay, let's do this. We had meetings before. I don't know if you remember our meetings. It's like we need to do this, we need to do that, but it was never like me extra pushing or me saying this and that. You guys really like. If I say, hey, let's do this, you do it. Hey, be here at this time, you're here at this time. Hey, let me learn how to edit. Let me learn how to color correct. Let me learn how to get my focus right and stuff like that. And that made me a lot happier to know that the people that I really am getting to know, people I love at this point, is doing something that I love,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's so great when you meet people that do share certain passions with you and stuff like that, So at that moment, I remember just being like, 96, 96, 96 in our shirts, and then going to the Playful Carnival to sell out of our shirts, take pictures and Polaroids and stuff like that. I still have those stuff. So for me, it's like, that's always a memory for me. And I remember just like, even though we were arguing a couple times during that time, but here's the thing, like, we did what we did. We made money. We were able to buy another camera with it and stuff like that. But again, I'm forever grateful for that era. I love 96, man. I do.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear. I always wanted your perspective just because, like, it is something that you cultivated, you created, right? So, like, I do appreciate that you did that because, like, part of 96 did build our friendship.
It did.
Right? Like, it was, like, kind of the foundation of our friendship and why, like, we'll always look back at the time. Like, we have, like you mentioned, 12 years of friendship, brotherhood, right? And it started there, right? It started with our, like, slapboxing fights and, like, constant arguments. But then, like, it also started with, like, always, like, and I know we're just a segment around it, but it always showed, like, all right, like, although we had this, like, beginning turmoil, like, I guess, like,
riffraff
that we went through, we still kept showing up for each other. Like, we still kept, like checking on each other, making sure that, in every version of ourselves, because we were growing up. We went from high school to college with 96.
We took it to college, but I want to show you, though, real quick, for 96. When I think of 96 Productions,
yeah,
for you, This is the picture that comes up for me every time I think about this. And I remember being proud at this moment. I don't think
Okay.
you would realize it, but I was really proud at this moment.
Yes. I remember this one. This is Sweet 16, Mayor's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Lyndon. Yeah.
Okay, memory.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you a story about that. And this is good. And I know we got a lot to cover in this podcast, but I want to tell you a quick story. And he's gonna pop up the picture. I was severely broke in college. Like at my last. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what was I gonna do. But like around that time, like I was just going through a lot, right? Especially college students, like we all struggle, right? Ivory came out of nowhere. It was like, yo, I got a Sweet 16. You willing to come back down here? I need help. Out of nowhere. And like put $300-$400 in my pocket. Like, and I'll forever like remember that. Cause it's like when you're at your lowest and you like, I guess like, I would say that was a low point in my life in college. Like when you just broke, right? College kids are broken in general.
But you're also covering your tuition yourself. Yeah. You're also covering a lot of different things too.
I have responsibilities where I'm like, I'm paying my way through college. Paying my phone bill and my mother's line, right? So I still have to carry this responsibility. So immediately I'm like, damn, I can't flip empanadas in college. I can't flip this, that, and the third. So I'm immediately trying to think about, damn, I need a job. I need this, that, and the third. And this is right before like I had interviews. I had any like student aid or like those little jobs on campus. And Ivory came out of nowhere with that. Like, and it was like one of the biggest blessings I had at that age. And I always was thankful just because like things could have went left, right? Like in terms of like from a financial perspective, but I think that was like such a big help. And like, that's where like, I do feel like when you do hit like a certain rock bottom, you know, God always is going to like provide you the answers, right?
Yeah.
As long as you stay strong in your faith. And I felt like that was like a sign. Even though at the time, like my faith wasn't as strong around that time, but I felt like I always can go back to that memory and like, you could have picked anybody. You could have hit up Brandon, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like you chose to talk to me. I went over there, man. Freaking one of the best Sweet 16s.
You executed.
Yeah, and then you know I edited too. Spoke with you, and it was just such a great turnout, right? So like, yeah, man, I'm very thankful of you in that moment because again, 96 Productions didn't just like it wasn't just about like money and all this stuff, but it was also like a way where we all grew as friends and brothers, but also like. I think even after that, like we had a conversation about this specific topic, and you was like, "Yo, I didn't even know you was going through that, but I'm happy to be able to help." And that like also showed me like, damn, like I actually got a brother here that truly care about me, truly see me. And I don't feel like I got a lot of people like that in my life, right? Especially at that time frame, I didn't feel like I had a lot of people like that. People don't really see me for me, so I felt like you in that moment was like, damn, like I really like care about you. You know what I mean? Like this is somebody that really truly sees you for you and like. Would be like concerned if like you also went hungry, right? So like that definitely opened my eyes, and that's literally was. And you need breaking points in some friendships for them to like go forward. I think that was a key breaking point for me.
I mean, my key breaking point for you. I mean, as we were in college, I feel like we got a lot closer to in college because you went to Rowan University and I went to Montclair State, and we were texting. For me, like I feel like what really defined our relationship for me was it was literally the first semester after our college. It was like December 2015. I remember. And I remember you came to my house, and I remember I was like mentally going through certain things in my life that I felt like I don't know what to do and stuff like that or what to say. So guys, I said this in honor of, since it's June, it's Pride Month, I have to say Steven was the first person I've ever came out to. And let me tell you something. I've never said that to anybody in my life. So I remember we was talking. I'm like, you know me when I have some big news or things I want to say, I'm like prolonging the news and stuff like that. You know, I got to stop doing that. But I just like, you know, you just got to test the waters. But I remember I said to you, at first I said pansexual because, you know, you never know where it's going to go.
I didn't even know what that meant. I'll be honest with you.
He did not.
Age, yeah.
But let me tell you something though. Like when I said that, right, I saw your stature and I saw your face. I know when you're like, you know, I know like you in a sense like that. But at that moment, you said, okay, cool. And?
Yeah, exactly.
And like, what prompted you to do that at that moment, if you remember?
Ivory, I think like in this world, there's so much hate, bro. You know what I mean? Like even at that young age.
Because I was 18 when I told you.
And like to me, like it didn't faze me at all. Cause like I knew you, right? Like I knew my bro that like through all these years that cared for us in different ways. You know what I mean? Even though we were like, we had a newer friendship than my other friendships, I knew your heart. And like to me, like when you told me that, of course I'm gonna like be accepting of every version of you. You feel me? Cause like you are somebody that in my life, you know, I want my kids to meet and like also for you to be a part of them, right? And I say that only because like at that point, at that age, when you told me that, I still felt the same way. Because you are like such a person that just gives out so much light. And this was like eating at you. So like in a moment where you needed someone to support you, of course I'm gonna be there, right? Of course I'm gonna be like, I know you just mentioned I'm the first person you came out to, but to me it was more like a case of like, who am I as a friend to like not be like supportive in that way, right? I'd be fake.
Mhm.
Then every one of our every one of our interactions would have been transactional off the baseline of like who I wanted you to be. Absolutely not. You are who you are, right? So that to me, like when you told me, it didn't matter to me because I knew who you was, right? No matter what, you feel me? So like I think that is where you asking me that question of like why didn't I react in like a weird way. I'm also Caribbean, right? So like to like put that out there, when we talk about like homophobia, right? A lot of Caribbeans are homophobic. That is just like the honest truth. But to me, like I didn't grow up that way. Like I wasn't raised that way to hate or like to be homophobic. So it was very easy for me to like process and just understand you was going through a lot. Like you was going through like the pain of like, will these people still accept me for who I am?
Or treat me different.
Yeah.
Things
And
like
that's
that.
when I just stood there, looked at you straight in your eye and said, oh, okay. And, right? Because I think like when people tell you alarming news, right? Or like to you is alarming news, right?
Mhm.
When people want to present alarming news, they expect, or the other person, the receiving end, is like, oh, what do I say, right? How do I make sure I support them? But like the best way to like handle those situations is to just show the person like, I'm here to support you regardless. So like you don't have to feel like this is alarming news. You can just tell me. And I think because like that comfort was already set, that's where we would that is truth. That is truth in that. That's a breaking point of like when like we really like, you know, solidified like our friendship, our brotherhood. But like I think in those cases, that's why I didn't react, right? Because like either way, you could have told me anything. You could have just told me you just shot somebody. I'd be like, all right, bro, like, what we gonna do? Right? Nah, but that's kind of crazy. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like I just felt like, you know, in that specific moment, right? You just needed somebody to really see you. So that's what I was.
And I feel like, yeah, and since like at that point, I just remember because Leslie used to live like down like a few blocks from me and stuff like that. So you'll always be at Leslie's house.
Yeah.
And then I always remember, that's why I always like feel like we were really a lot closer back then, where it's like after 11 o'clock at night, you were like, Ivory, come to my house.
Yeah.
Because your house was 5 minutes away from my house. So I'll always drive to your house and then we'll be chatting up all night. And then your mom comes home late, another hour and stuff like that. I just always like remembers those times of just being like, I feel like I really got to know you because we were, again,
1000%.
talking, shooting the shit and just venting and also just like being there. I felt like, I don't know, I feel like it was just comfortable. It was comfortable.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's where it's like, those are the origin stories or like the memories I will always fall back to when people say like, yo, how did you meet Ive? How'd y'all get so close? Like, you know what I mean? Like I always fall back to those stories where we'll go to the track, come back, have smoothies, you know what I mean? Play games or watch whatever, right? Or just talk, chop it up, right?
And also to say like in 2016, for the whole friend group to work together in the summer when my dad was working at SSYC.
Oh yeah, that was
like when
crazy.
I tell you, it's like I never thought that all of us, you, me, Brandon, Katie, will all work together in the summer.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then you worked at my other job, Pisano's.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like we worked. That's what I'm saying. We worked a lot together. I realized though, in certain ways, in like our late teens. Like I remember, like even when I did busing, serving, delivery driving, and stuff. I remember we was doing delivery driving. So it was like when you was at Romanes at Montclair. Literally, I'll do it one weekend, he'll do it the next weekend.
Yep.
We used to alternate just to make money.
But that only happened because you put us on. I don't think you were noticing that. And that's the thing, like I'm speaking to the camera, like this is what I mean by Ivory's character. Like he will always think about the other person, right? Even before himself. And sometimes, there's pros and cons to that. But like when you view Ivory as a friend or like me, I always think about someone who's super selfless and it's because through your actions you've shown it, right? Whereas like you ain't need to get us all a job. You always thought about me when you got a job.
Yeah.
Paisanos, SSYC, like you always thought about me in those aspects, but also others, right? Like I had a job at Marshall's. I wasn't making nothing. I hated Marshalls.
Steven hated Marshalls.
I only like Marshalls because I'll be able to see like the polos that come in fresh or like the good polos, and I'll be able to immediately take them off the rack. So that's another reason why if you go to Marshalls, you don't see clothes you like it's because like the employees are literally taking them off the rack. But nonetheless, what I'm trying to say is Ivory always puts people on in any aspect, right? Even at the sacrifice of himself. So that just goes to show or should tell you a lot about your character. That's the reason why we all work together.
But I always think about those times too, because I was really like going back like memory lane and stuff like that. So I just think like this like from the jobs. But I always want to ask you though, like, why do you feel like some friendships last while others don't?
Okay. When I saw this one, I really wanted to touch on like a lot of the reasons why it doesn't last. But I'll give a clear synopsis of why they do last. I feel like you have 3 pillars in a friendship, right? Respect, heavy emphasis on respect, right? Loyalty, and I think effort, right? If you have a combination of those 3 pillars and it's mutually, it'll last, right? Because throughout every phase of life, right, every relationship should be held to the same standard, right? Whether it's, what I'm trying to say, like friendship, significant other, whatever. If you don't give those 3 pillars, it will never last. That's why I don't believe in low maintenance friends. So I'll touch on that after. Then you also have the perspective, and I'm shifting the dime now, or I'm shifting to like why it won't last. I think some friends get introduced in like seasons. So like in certain people's or in certain versions of people's lives, they build connections with friends. But as they grow, if those 3 pillars aren't like grounded, which they aren't because like you just met them in that season, friendships fade, right? The respect factor, again, I think I'm like kind of like pulling from what was good to bad, but like respect is like heavy, right? If you don't respect the other person, friendships won't last, they'll fade, right? And that plays into like also proximity as well, like if you're close to someone, right? Living wise or just in general. I think that also plays into like why people don't last as well because they don't reach out or they just feel like you're too far. But more importantly, I do think the fading aspect is like based on like how, or like it's a misunderstanding of like how people view friendships, right? Because I'll touch on the low maintenance thing now. I have a lot of low maintenance friends, or people think I'm low maintenance, right? People think they can just hit me up in a month, hit me up in a year, or just like interact with me periodically and think we'll be okay.
But why do you feel like that's the case when people do that for you?
Because I've enabled it, right? Like I'll be honest with you, like I've never wanted to argue the fact, or like I think like especially like in our social groups, when you do voice something, you're deemed as like dramatic, or you're deemed as, there's like always some negative connotation when you're trying to say, yo, I just want to like be with the group. Like, I just want to like, you know what I mean? I just want to talk this, that, and that. But then like when these negative connotations come in, or there's like people like, they just say, I see things, I see, or even how people treat you, right? Because it is true.
Hello.
It makes you shell up, right? You go back in your shell, you're like, like, is this how people view me, right? You start having those questions, and instead of addressing, right? Oh, another one. Sorry, I should have brought this up. The truth. The truth sometimes either evolves friendships or makes friendships fade, right? But nonetheless, that was just another thing I wanted to talk about. But low maintenance friends to me don't exist because there's no way you can expect to touch or like to really like check up on people like periodically and then expect that relationship or friendship to grow. Because all low maintenance friends do is go find friends that actually want to talk to them, right? So when you come back, you're like, oh, I thought we was cool. In what world? Right? We're cordial. That's what low maintenance is to me. Cordial.
Yes.
Right? Bro, I would never make an issue out of anything. But don't treat me low maintenance and expect me to be like, I guess like or just treat you like how I guess like real friends treat me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that to me is like important to note on why some friendships fade, because you have those three pillars. You have a fourth pillar, which is the truth, right? Because truth really like can destroy or propel a friendship.
It sure can.
But yeah, no, I wanted to touch on that topic, right? Because like I feel like so many people, or there's a this low maintenance terminology has become so popular, but people don't understand. Like the minute you introduce that into a friendship, I immediately cut it off. Like it's just like, all right, if this is where you see this going for the rest of our lives, there is no point in me investing in this, because that's what effort is, investment, right? Because that's what you care about your people, right? Like you care about those people that really care about you. And friendships is very important to like maintain in any aspect, right? Business, personal, or regardless, right, of what it is. So there has to be investment to that. But yeah, the minute someone brings up the terminology low maintenance, I don't gotta talk to you for a while, it immediately throws me off. The only person I've ever allowed it with is my best friend Brandon, right? It's the only person, right? Because like we just had a different dynamic, but like when we did link, it did. There were flashes of like, yeah, this is like, you know what I mean? Like this is my guy. Like I love him to death. But like we've also as adults learned to communicate. Yo, we shouldn't be doing this. Like we should be, because we've had many conversations of like this low maintenance thing, right? And I have voiced it already. So it's not like a case of like just me saying it and then like attacking, but like just me trying to say like, yeah,
replace that word.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But it's just more in a case of like, I no longer have, for me in my life, I no longer have room for low maintenance friends. And I think all my friends know that, I hope. But like, if you don't know that, now you do. And if you see me like, I guess, how do I say? Letting go more, right? It's not because I have any malice or hate towards you. I'm just investing my time in the friendships that do care about me. That's really what it is, right? I'm at that age, man, where, you know what I mean? I don't have the time for like drama or stupidity, right? So like to me, I'ma always invest and be true to the people that really care about me. And if you don't, then it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it is. But I also feel like again, like even with our friendship, I'll say, I feel like we've again like had trials and tribulations, and all relationships go through certain things. The thing about our relationship, I'll say, is that we don't always argue, but I'll say you're the only, like between you, Brandon, and I, you're the only friend that I will go back and forth with and stuff like that, and you will give it back to me, you know. And even like a couple of years ago, I felt like there was a lot of things going on in your personal life, and I remember just like, because again, you feel like if for your truth and what you feel, a lot of people might be like, hey, hi, or whatever, and then see you like a month or so. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like at a time when I feel like I wanted to be there for you, as an example, there was a lot of pushback. And I understand the situation and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But I felt like, I remember you was a time where if I didn't invite you somewhere or tell you something, you would cut me off.
Yeah. All right. So two answers to that. When I was younger, I craved social group friendships. Like I craved us to be more closer, where it's like we weren't always as close, right? We were all boys, but like an example, I'll use you and Brandon and my relationship as an example. You and Brandon are a lot closer than we are as a trio.
Yes.
Right? Like that's the honest truth. But I will never hold that against you. I have my personal relationship with Brandon, I have my personal relationship with you. Like either way, like I will always love you guys to death. But it doesn't mean that just because you guys are closer to each other, it means that like I love you guys less. You know what I mean? But to that point, I think a part of that also made me start thinking like, damn, like who am I? Like who's my go-to? Who do I talk to on a daily basis? Who can I like vent to the most? And like eventually it became nobody, right? And because I didn't have that constant, like, I guess, avenue to always go to, I started like really shelling up and building callous, right? So like now you got life challenges coming into play, trauma, pain, all this stuff that's like really starting to like build on that callous. Now when you try to come to me, it's too much callous. You're not getting through nothing. Where I feel like you are different, because I feel like with you, like, although I do like tell you like I'm not in the mood to talk right now, there are moments where I am ready to have conversations. We have those conversations. But that's the difference between like you and a lot of others, right? And I'm not using this like podcast to like target anybody in my friendships, because like we all have like different roles, or like everyone knows how much I love them. But the difference between you and a lot of people is like you actually check in, right? Everyone looks at me like I'm supposed to be okay. Everyone sees my job, I'm married, all this stuff. You're supposed to be okay. And they look at all of my pros and think you should be okay.
He got it all together.
You got it all together. And I think that is just like, is where I start to build, or I guess like that's where that comes from. Where you just mentioned, why do I push people away? Mm-hmm. Because you think I'm so perfect, right? And you don't acknowledge the fact that, you know, I've been going through a lot of these things. But, you know, as men, is something that we kind of build in general, where we don't talk about our feelings or emotions. So that's why, like, and I know this is one of the topics, so I don't want to like.
No, keep talking.
Yeah. But as men, I truly feel like we were always taught to like just stay strong, chin up, no matter what, and keep fighting and never show emotion, right? So when we do show emotion, when we do show vulnerability, it should really be like, I guess, valued, right? And I felt like in certain parts of my life, I have shown vulnerability and people look at me weird. Like, what are you being so vulnerable? You should be grateful for all these successful things in your life. And I look at people like, damn, like, that just lets me know how you see me. But like, you could have all the success in the world and still be like, you could have $10 million and still be the most loneliest and still be the saddest, because like just life, it just doesn't work in the way that just because like you're kind of golden in one end, right? That you'll be like golden everywhere else. And I think, you know, people's values are what people value is how they view others, right? So if people value money and you're rich, they're like, you have no reason to be upset. You have all this money. But then this person could have no family, right? And can be rich, and like, who does this person have everything to share it with? So like, that's just, I'm giving you like kind of, it's not like me, but I'm giving you like a specific scenario, right? But that is something that I feel like in my life now, tying it back to like what we were talking about, I think there's just been so much of like, Steven should be okay. Steven is okay. We don't got to worry about him. Check-ins, right? From like the entirety of my village, that like I now like just, right? I learned how to deal with me through like channeling like different, you know, things that I've learned for me, right? It doesn't really make sense, but it kind of does, where it's like, I know I don't seek, I guess, healing those versions of me through others, right? And the reason I stopped doing that, because I felt like the more I tried to go to that or seek that, the more I was just building on top of the mountain of whatever I was feeling, right? So then like the minute that got cut off is the minute that now you have a shell that I don't think will ever open, right? But there also is a version of me that is still continuing to like work on that, right? So although I mentioned that it never opens, right? There are people like you who do check in periodically, even when I do say no, right? And it speaks to you as a friend as well. Even when I say, yo, I don't want to talk right now, bro. I'll check on you next week. And you actually do.
I'm persistent. Yeah. So the thing is though, like, no, I'm just saying, like, here's the thing though. I've always looked at this sentiment growing up. You always got to check on the strongest ones.
Yes.
And the thing is, a lot of times people can look at you, again, like from the outside looking in, he's married. He has this perfect relationship. He makes a lot of money. He does this and that. And like, he has a place. He has a dog. Why are we checking on him. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We all look at, that's what I'm saying about social media sometimes. It's just not real. And again, like, those things are true to who you are. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like, as we get older, you have to look at really who a person is. And I feel like a lot of times it's like, for you, like when I do like try to check in on you, when I feel like you reject it at times, again, that's you putting your guard up at times, or maybe you just don't want to talk at that moment. And that's fine. I'm not saying it's all the time with me, but it's like when I do try to reach in, whatever not, I want you to know like it's okay. You know? I don't want you to feel like I'm all alone. And there's times where I feel the same way sometimes, like I feel alone or I feel this and that. But no, I feel like for me, like when I have a brotherhood, and I said this to Brandon before too, when I really check in, when I really want to say you're doing, I do, you know, because shit can get dark. Shit can get real mentally and shit like that. You know, we all have our own experiences in life that we go through, and we're still healing from those experiences. You know, I can't solve your problems. You can't solve mine. I can't solve B's. But the best way I can do is be there and listen to you, man.
Exactly. And I want to touch on that, right? Because I think that's what I had to learn. I had to learn that just because our issue or what we're going through isn't similar doesn't mean like we can't talk and like process what the heck each of us are going through, right? And the reason I say that is because some people do that, right? And even I fall victim to that. He don't know what the hell I'm going through. He never been like somebody like me where I had to like be 16, like taking care of this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? Making sure like, so like I love this metaphor or just this saying that 50 Cent said. Everyone else comes and gets me when there's an issue. Who do I go get? I'm going to go back home and get me. Like, it's one of the best things he ever said. And I literally sat there and was like, damn, like, that's one of the truest things I ever heard. Because I can't go to nobody, right? All I have is me. So if there's an issue, I got to solve it, no matter what. That's like immense pressure at a young age. I had that since I was a boy. Who do I go get, man? Who do I seek help from? And that's in any aspect. So I think to your point, right, when you're saying like, no matter what, I'm gonna always check in, even if we can't relate in some topics. I'm learning to like accept that now, because that mindset was always in my head. Like, you don't understand this pressure, but you don't got to, right? And I think now, like being open to that is where I'm becoming more like vulnerable as a man and having these conversations. Because vulnerability is a strength, man. And I think like a lot of people like just don't view it that way, and that's okay. Like I don't care. Like I think a trait that I also got from like and learned from Brandon, right, is being comfortable in your own skin. You know what I mean? So like I could be vulnerable and not care what people say, but you also have to realize who you're being vulnerable with. Right. So like that's most important, because people are very judgy. So like to me, it's like when I can sense that, I'm good, right? And if that's why, like that's another reason why like I feel people also create shows, because like they have terrible interactions with judgy people. So yeah, I think I like went off the rails, but yeah,
it's a podcast. It's okay.
That's like, yeah, I think that's
I appreciate you sharing your too from that.
Yeah,
but I want to know, who is Steven Brito when nobody's around?
When nobody's around, who am I? My wife can tell you more than I can tell you. I'm somebody who's always constantly thinking, right? I'm always like thinking ahead, always like I'm the constant fixer. So I always have to like consistently look at issues. And that's kind of goes hand in hand with my job. And I'm an auditor, right? So there's a lot of built-in things that shape who I am. But like, I'm also somebody that's like, when no one's looking, I guess I'm the most vulnerable. I guess I'm the most vulnerable part of myself, right? Where I do allow those emotions to kind of seep in, especially like, I'll touch on this subject only now, but like Father's Day is around the corner, right? Everyone knows I lost my father. But in those moments, like especially when I'm alone, those are the moments that I do channel into that emotion. And I try to tap into that and like grieve in the way I can, because no one allows me to grieve, right? So I think because I can only grieve in silence, I use that time away from everyone to grieve. So like that's who I am as a person that when no one's looking, right? That's like part of me that's like still healing, but yeah.
But why do you grieve alone?
I grieve alone because I just mentioned a little bit. I don't think I'm allowed to like grieve loudly, right?
But why?
No one cares, right? Like you go through your trauma or you go through what you go through in your life. And of course people like share their sentiment like to you. You know what I mean? Or they tell you like or they try to like be there for you. But no one can really like, and I don't expect people to be consistently there. But sometimes like people act like it never happened. Act like I'm not dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. So I feel like the same thing I was just telling you. I have all these good things going for myself. I'm supposed to be happy. But I have probably one of the biggest holes of my life that I can never fill, right? So that's something that Steven alone battles with every day, right? So, and I don't want to use this like kind of like platform to like propel like any like sadness or like people to worry about me, because I am always gonna be strong. I have my wife, I have you, like I have people that do care about me, that like Brandon, you know what I mean, like that do check in and like do want to talk and like do like see this sides of me sometimes. But then I also don't allow a lot of people in, right? Like we were just mentioning, just because like again, I just feel like that version of me is just like not ready to be shown to the world, right? Just because it is so much, right? That even me, myself, that I still like battle with each and every day, right? But like, yeah, that's a touchy subject. That's a different kind of like, I guess, mind frame to like the question you had, but that is who I am, right? So I didn't want to come here and give you like a sound bite or a weird answer, because like that's not the truth. I want to give you the authentic me, especially as the season finale, right? So for me, that's who I am when no one's looking right now, currently, right? Because before it used to be, well, you know, I'm somebody that's just super optimistic and want to be, you know, want to own a house and want to do this, want to do that, want to be like just super, you know, I guess like loving and caring and worried about my wife and talk about her dance career and all this, that, and the third. And I care so much. But now, like, this version of me is, like, really sitting with a lot of pain. So learning how to channel that, right? Learning how to, like, you know, navigate through that and then also be the best version of myself, right? Which is, like, hard to do, but you got to. As a man in this world, you got to be the best version of yourself, no matter what, even when you're struggling. So that's what I'm doing. I'm learning how to, like, be the best version of myself while still going through that.
But I wanted to say to you, though, like, for your truth, like, when you said I don't want to propel sadness or whatever on the podcast, I don't think you're propelling sadness. I think what you have to realize, though, and this is something as men, we need to start doing this more with our emotions. You're just simply speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And I feel like no matter who wants to admit this or not, every single person is feeling a lot of different emotions, right? And I feel like with you, it's like, I love that you can take the mask off and stuff like that. I'm glad that you can say this because, listen, there's a lot of people that feel the exact same way that you're feeling. Seriously. And I feel like that's the first step, is to admit that, to say how you're feeling, you know? Because I feel like, listen, I'm sorry, like when we're who we are by ourselves, I always wonder, like, who are you like by yourself? Because again, when you grew up, you was always alone and stuff like that. That's why I wanted to ask you that, because I felt like you were either playing video games at that time or whatever not. And I just feel like with life now and the new circumstances that came with it, it's a lot heavier.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And it can't get scary. It can get dark, you know? But I feel like you just saying that, it's like, okay, like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
Because you're not. And I don't want you to feel like this is a sad thing. I think this shows how strong you are.
Yeah.
You are, man.
No, I appreciate it. I think like you hit it on the nail too. Like as a kid, even I was alone like the majority of my life, right? I ain't really like, although like a lot of people have like big families, right? Like I'm first generation, right? So like combining that with like, I also came from a broken family, right? Combining that with the fact that not a lot of my family liked, I guess like my specific branch of the family. And I'm little, I'm the youngest, so like I don't know what the hell's going on, right? So like I'm being secluded for zero reasons, right? Now I'm getting older. People see me now. I'm in the spotlight. Now you're like, oh, that's this and this son. Now, like, you know me. But like, you know, my younger self never forgot that. So like it's also like harder to like open up when you've always been alone. When you've always like tried to process these emotions. So how do you like tell a kid who turned to an adult who has always faced these feelings how to process them? And you don't. You got to learn. The person themselves got to learn how to like, I guess like channel through that emotion, right? And like work past it. But yeah, that's why like to me, I think it's even harder where if some people was to come up to me and be like, just go to therapy, it's bigger than that, right? Like I understand what therapy can accomplish, but like to me, it's like it's deeply rooted in my core on like what I gotta fix, and that's internal, right? That's something I gotta do for me. So like
It is, and
yeah,
I realize that with people sometimes too. I actually recently just got back into therapy last week because I felt like I was trying to manage certain emotions that I thought I could handle, but I can't.
yeah,
But I always say though, before I would recommend it to you and stuff like that, but I think it has to really come from you if you want that.
yeah.
I feel like for me, there's a lot of things I can't say without feeling judgment or feel like a burden to people a lot of times. So when I do go to therapy and stuff like that, when I feel alone or the thoughts are getting a lot louder, it's easier for me to just like say how I'm feeling. And that helps me for me. That's my outlet,
Yeah.
how I get through, you know, because I feel like when I bottle things up or if I'm just like pestering or being needy or calling whatever not, it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
For me, I'll say for me. But like you're on your journey, you have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
I just don't want you to suffer in silence too longer and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And I'll be honest with you, like when I say suffer in silence, it's not like what I'm suffering is grief, right? It's different than like what we were just talking. What you just mentioned, very true. Like we're in two different like kind of like journeys with what we're like trying to work on, right?
Yeah.
I don't think how I can like. So I don't want to say solve because there's nothing wrong with me, but like how I can like start working on this, just talking through it. It's something internally I gotta like do, right? And some people also say like, it, you know, with change or with life, that you will find your answer, right? So that's what like I think that's where I'm at now. With change, with life, with like more life to come, like that's where I feel like I will heal, right, as I grow. But I also want to be patient with myself in this journey, because I don't think there's a quick fix to any of this.
No.
So that's why like
it's
to
a
me,
lifetime.
Yeah.
So no matter what, it's always gonna be like a journey on and
Mhm.
on and on. But again, it's like you're taking on. You're not literally like substituting with this bad habit or this thing, whatnot. Like, no, like it's okay to take a step back,
Exactly.
assess the situation,
Exactly.
and then execute exactly what you want to do moving forward.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
You
Love
know?
it. Love it.
Now, what does success mean to you?
Damn, I hate this question.
Why?
I'm
curious.
When I was 23, success to me meant being 25 with a house. Now we live in New Jersey where the market is like ridiculous at post-COVID, right? Where like you can't get a house if you don't have $1 million. Or at least like 3%. Well, FHA is a scam too, because like people don't tell you. Because I'm pretty sure all the like real estate gurus come in here like, oh, you can still get a house, but it's like you'll be in the red for the majority of life and you'll lose your house in New Jersey or anywhere in the East Coast, right? Just because the market is like ridiculous. Sorry, I'm like burping internally for some reason. But yeah, so success to me at like a younger age was like get a house, multifamily, making money from a passive income. It was always tied to like finances, right? As an adult now, I think success to me is being able, and this sounds crazy, I say it all the time, but I'm a fair believer that in lifetimes and generations, there has to be a sacrificial bond. And I feel like success to me is being the seed to the next generation, my next generation, and them benefiting from the fruits that I put down, right? I feel like I have to be the sacrificial pawn for my future family. And success to me is making sure that I build that before I go. That's success to me now in my 29 years of living. Where before I was thinking about myself. Now I'm thinking about, no one has done it for you. Well, whatever forefathers, like, why are we not rich yet?
Right.
But like not only rich in money, but in family and just in general. So like, if I don't have that right now, I gotta be that for like, the kids to come. So that's what success means to me. If I'm able to do that, even if I like live out this life, right, and I never see whatever financial goals I set out, right? But as long as I see that from like a family perspective, I'm okay, right? I think like a big part of me just wants like kids and wants to like be able to feed into those kids like a lifestyle that I wasn't given, but like respectful, and I'm gonna say that in a respectful manner because I'm first generation, right? Both my parents like did an amazing job, right? With what they had, with what they know, with where they came from, right? So like being able to have this opportunity and push it forward, right? And not stay stalemate, right? Don't waste the opportunities my parents gave me. I think that is like more of like where I see success in now instead of saying, well, when I have like 10 houses, right? Because that was like always, I've relied on like tangible objects and like, or things, right? Portfolios or whatever to like be the criteria for my success. But now it's no longer. Now it's the intangible items.
Literally, like that whole sentiment you just said changed my perception on success.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of times we can be selfish and think of the things that we want for ourselves. But I love like the maturity, just like from knowing you for over a decade and some change,
Mm-hmm.
to get to that point of what do you see for success for yourself and for your family that you're going to be building and growing.
Mm-hmm.
That's really amazing. And I think that a lot of people don't really look at that.
No, because everyone's me. How can I like make this $1 million hitting this parlay? Was like, you know what I mean? Like getting a car, getting a house. Like that's always like people's like perceptions. But people can get a house and struggle. Like paying a mortgage is no joke. Like no joke, especially now, like 8K mortgages. Get out of here, right? Who's gonna be in the green in that? But that's the reality we live in. We got the short end of the stick with this generation, right? Unfortunately. There is no money in a lot of the tools before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where like some people, when they dive into like these, I guess, concepts where they find success, they struggle immediately.
Mm.
And then that success turns into like their worst nightmare. So that's why like I had to shift. I had to think like bigger than like me, what I can get now, because I also don't want like what I deem to be successful to be like what ruins me.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Because right now, like I told you, everything tied to like real estate, owning, all this stuff. And I feel like I've just seen so many people get ruined from it. But I know like for me, it's like not something I would like ever go into now. Of course, owning a single family for my family in the future makes the most sense. But like investing and doing all that stuff, I'm so out of that mindset. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
That's success. That's why I hate the question, because it's a twofold question where it's like you have to address what your past self. Sorry, I'm like away from the mic. You have to address what your past self deemed to be successful to then now like what you deem to be successful now. It's important, right? Because as you grow, like that concept always changes.
Yeah.
But I think right now, where I'm at now, the point in my life, this concept will never change currently, which is what I mentioned earlier with the sacrificial pawn thing, which people might disagree about. I don't care.
Rending.
Yeah.
But what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? The love I cultivated, man. I truly feel like, we're going to touch on this a little bit later too about the marriage, but
Let's talk about it.
yeah, I think the person I met at a young age and being able to identify this person, being able to like cultivate this love and like pick each other every day. I think I'm most proud of that, right? Just because like love is so underrated, but also so like, I don't know how to use the word or the terminology, but it's missing in our day and age, right? It's very hard. Even like the past podcast I watched with like you and B, you guys were talking about time frames, and that could have easily been me too, right? Like I'm not gonna say, like I'm very grateful and lucky that I was able to find my person so young, but like that's where it's like also when you find a person so young, right? It's very hard because now you're growing as two different versions, right? I've known Leslie since I was like 17, 16. So we went from 17, 16 to 21 to 25, now to 28 and 27, right? And knowing, I'm 29, I'm stupid. 29 and 28.
I got you, though. I was on your rock. I got you.
Jesus, can't even tell math. 28 and 29. But like, that's different stages. That's different people, right? And I think like I'm most proud of that because like even throughout that, we still loved each other. I'm talking like I was never the flyest. I think when I was younger I was. But after a time, I started to gain weight. I started to lose myself. College, the freshman 15 for me was freshman 50. I was, like it's just like a different phase. Then we moved in together, young, struggling. But like, through all that, we still chose each other. We still like kept love as like the foundation of like, the roots, right? I think I'm proud of that because of that. Because of all this time, we still like chose ourselves. And now like we're married, right? Which is like was super important to me because in the past I never believed in marriage. I thought marriage was just a scam, paperwork. Now I understand it as an adult. Whereas like it's not that. It's like this is literally the flower blossoming for all the roots that you put in for all these years. This is where you allow it to blossom. That's what marriage stands for. It's not about like binding and all this stuff and all this legal things, right? Because that's where like my mind frame immediately, or my mind state was like going to. It was like, oh, like what if we were to leave each other, this, that, and the third, like prenums, all this stuff. Like, but no, like none of that truly matters when you're doing it for the right reason, right? So like that's why like now I think that's what I'm most proud of.
I'm proud of you with that, to be honest. I remember like I met you 12 years ago. So I was kind of about like almost 2 months before you and Leslie got together. So for me, it's like, I knew Leslie for when I was a lot younger. And then I met you around that same time you guys started talking. And I felt like this is what I always say, like I always talk so highly about your wedding, is that to really witness like the 12 years of a relationship that you did, to really see it from the beginning, from childhood as kids. And then you're in college your first year. She's finishing her senior year. And then she's in New York. Then you're in South Jersey. And then eventually she goes to South Korea. You're here for half the semester, making phone calls, work and stuff like that. Then just life happens. Moving in together, making that work. And I loved how you guys took your time. Like I said, some people will meet each other in a year and be like, all right, we're done. We're going to do this. We're going to make it work. And then they start to realize, I don't like you. Like, why are we in this together? But I love how you truly took your time. And that's why I always like when I look at you both. And I love what Leslie said in her vows. This is the one thing that got me emo. And I was keeping it together y'all that day. I'm gonna tell you about that. I want to get to the wedding in a second. But when I told you like the one thing that she said, this was it broke me. And I thought about it for a second. I remember she said that when she was in her dance classes and stuff like that. I remember like in senior school, whatever, you took on a dance class because you wanted to get to know her world. And that's the thing. You do things that's, you are comfortable being uncomfortable. Yeah. But you got to do that for her because she loved it. Yep. And you got to understand the art of dance in so many ways. More than me. I don't know much about dance, but I'm just saying like stuff like that. And I love that about you and her relationship so much, man.
But I feel like, I love that you touched on that. I feel like people aren't willing to do those efforts or to go to that extreme.
Because we're not like that no more.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like in terms of like when you truly like are in all about somebody and you want to understand their full world, right? You can't do that with a glass in front of you. You can't be a viewer, right? You got to participate. And that's why like I did that at a young age and I understood I have no idea what the heck she's talking about with this dance. So I'll just be like any other person. Yeah, you did great. Yeah. Instead, like then I started immersing myself in her world through like tiny things, right? Whether like in high school, like I just like changed art to dance, right? And with like the mindset of like, I'm learning all this, asking all these questions so that way I can ask Leslie, right? Where some people found it like, yo, that's weird, that's tacky, like whatever. To me, I used it to like really fuel the engine of like the relationship I had. So yeah, no, I agree. I also like, in my mind, I didn't think it was like known or like that she like appreciated it. So when I heard it in her vows, I was like, oh, you knew I was doing that. So it was great. It was great to hear. But I appreciate that. Yeah. Also, you saw that as well. Cause like to me, that's like super important. When you're getting to know someone, dive into what that person is doing. Right?
Yeah.
Like actually like, and it doesn't take a lot. You could read a book and understand what someone's doing, right? Just like cause you're being more educated in that specific topic.
Yeah.
When you're like educate yourselves in whatever way you want to, you don't have to do what I did. But like the effort of like trying to understand is like enough, I feel. So yeah.
Now, like I said, you just got married.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the last podcast you was talking about how just like
Mm-hmm.
I'm broke. I don't know. This is like it's mad shit going on. Now that the wedding is done, you are
Mhm.
2 months married.
Yes.
What is marriage life like for you now?
Marriage is nice. I think like it's funny because when we got back home, it's like
Where'd you go?
we went to Italy. We went to Italy for 2 weeks. That was great. Loved Italy. I feel like we touched a lot. Like I was Leslie's like a big and Leslie's my wife. She's big on like touching every part of Italy. I'm talking like we were traveling, going 2 days in Venice, train. 2 days in Florence, train. 2 days in Rome, train. And we saw everything. I'm talking like 20,000 steps a day. And you know, if you know me, I'm not big on museums. I'm big on art. I could do art, but like if we're going to go see a sculpture, come on, you can miss me with it. But for her, like I took it to the chin.
She get you out your comfort zone, and that's why I love about. Shout out to Leslie for getting Steven out his comfort zone, girl. You know it's hard out here. You know what I'm saying? But like seriously, dog.
But with that, like I was appreciative because like I got to see everything, right, and then really enjoy all of it. So when people ask me where I went, they'd be like, "Damn, you did all that." I'm like, I owe it to my wife, like and the travel agent. But like, yeah, no, it was great. But coming back from that, you know, we're still building on like, you know, we have a little dog, right? So like that's our baby. So we still have our dog, right? We're still building those like family habits that I feel like we were already starting. Cause like when you are, and this is for all my married couples or like engaged couples, when you are in an engagement process, you're almost like simulating what it would be like when you get married. Cause this is like, it takes a team effort to like really like get like a wedding together, right? So like when the wedding is successful and you do it, after the fact, you start living life the same way. So like I wouldn't say it's similar, but like we're just building on like what we were practicing already. So that's how I would say like marriage life is now 2 months. I'll probably have a different like view on it in a year or two, right? Not negative, but like where we're going, like what are the things we could build on, what are the things we should not adopt where we are, because kids could come into the picture, stuff like that, right? But yeah, I think right now currently it's just continuing to build on the things we want to build on and continuously supporting. I think I've always been that to like at least my significant other, like constant support no matter what. Being there no matter what.
And blunt.
Yeah, and blunt. Being
let me tell you
truthful.
something. No,
I'm very truthful.
But that's what I love about,
yeah.
and that's what I always feel like with you guys sometimes. Like, if I'm like in the same environment as you guys, and I love, for me, this is how I realize like you truly do love her. And I will say sometimes like if it may come off like, oh, Steven's being abrasive or Steven's like this and that. No, I truly feel like you say these things because you love this person. And sometimes the truth hurts.
Truth hurts.
But what I love about you two, especially when you and her have that conversations, you're really just straightforward and realistic about it and say, okay, I'm saying these things. I'm not being pessimistic. I'm not being negative. But what's the solution moving forward? And you've always been that for her. And I'm pretty sure like vice versa for you too. But I love when I see that, but like, you love her. I love that about that.
I think that's like important to do in a relationship. Just because like if you're overly supportive, then now you're being fake. Like now you're not really being like a helping hand to this person, and someone else will be.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't want someone else to be that for you. You want to be that for your relationship. So like sometimes it has to be those hard conversations and the truth has to come out. And although some people might not see your truth in the moment, they will see it eventually. And that's where like Leslie and my relationship has grown, whereas like in the beginning, people might have viewed me like a dickhead, but then like my heart was always in it for the right reasons, right? So, and when I say that too, it's like I don't say anything mean, I don't yell, I don't do anything, but like I'm just very realistic. Like, hey, like, what if this doesn't like pan out? What's next? What's B? And they'd be like, why would you say that? There's only option A. But it's like, no, because life can go in. And
The reality.
the reality is life can like just put you in a whole different mix, right? And if it does, let's prepare for it.
But we need that balance.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like sometimes like I can be delusional and have like all the things that I want for myself.
But
and
being
still
delusional is important too.
No, it's my superpower. Don't be wrong.
No, listen. That's vice versa. That's what she taught me, right? Sometimes you gotta be so delusional. That's the only way you can succeed in certain areas, right? In every area in life, when you're so delusional and so headstrong about something, and I'm not saying Leslie's delusional, right? I don't want to come across like that.
Oh no. It's in general. It's in general.
But like, you just gotta be stupid passionate about what you do, to the point where you don't care what no one says. You can accept the realities and the truths and use it, but like, plan A is plan A, regardless if you like it or not. And that's something I admire about my wife, where it's just like, no matter, how many times like she has to go through trials and tribulations, whether it's like in our relationship, her career, or just in general, right? She always comes out of it super passionate, super strong, with a smile on her face, chin up, right? And making sure like she's still pursuing what, she set out to pursue since she was a kid, right? So it's just one of those cases where like I've learned to admire like such a strong person in this field. So like, I'm happy to like call her my wife.
What advice would you give someone preparing for marriage?
Oh man, tolerance, right? Like you gotta pick each other every day, because a wedding breaks so much relationships, right? And I'm talking like it can even break a significant other, right? Just because like that's a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to each other every day or every week. Have a meeting every week. You have meetings with your wedding planners, right? Have a meeting with each other. Check in. We did that. That was like the best thing we could have done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because so much happens, man. Especially when you're dealing with people. I love you guys, like in terms of like groomsmen and bridesmaids. Like I think like we're lucky to have you guys, but it's like also like from you almost have to view yourself as a project manager, right? When you are doing that, because it is a project, as a wedding.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to navigate everybody. But it's not just navigating everybody's people's emotions, right? Priorities, right? What we can rely on, what we can't rely on, stuff like that, right? So like me, as level-headed as I am, some people don't like that version of me where I'm work. But I mean, like, this is like my wedding.
This is your project.
I'm pouring
this is the money.
I'm pouring such a huge investment. So the reason I'm saying this is because for the people that are getting married, if you're putting up all this money, make sure whoever says yes, it can commit, right? The commitment aspect of a yes is like, some people just feel honored to say yes. They're like, oh, I'm so happy you said yes. I'm so happy you asked me. But then they don't understand the responsibility that comes with it. So when you think about that, like, make sure you know who you're asking. Because even for me, like, I knew I couldn't ask specific people. So I didn't, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's important because when you start getting to the nitty gritty stuff and you start going project management role, people can't take offense to it. People got to be able to like take it because they know like, all right, like this is just him trying to get something done, not him talking to me crazy. And not that I talk to people crazy. I'm just very direct. Like, hey, was this done? No. Okay, next. I'll ask someone else to do it. Literally. Like it has to be that way. Cause like time doesn't wait for you, for someone else's, for you. Time is not pinned on another person for your own wedding, right? Like it's your wedding. If you make it about this person saying no, that's on you. Person said no, next, who can help me, right? And that's where it's just so important. So that's like my 2 cents when I give an advice to like a couple that's engaged getting married, because like, yeah, it's important. So yeah, I think I just gave like 3 things there, like the meetings, the making sure you pick the right people, and yeah, I think 2 things. But
yeah. But I also want to know, like, as we're ending the marriage talk, I want to know, like, because your wedding was beautiful. I have to say, I'm very honored to be your groomsman. I really was like, I'm not gonna hold you. I was just like, I felt like, damn, like I get to walk. help you enter this new union in your life.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm forever grateful for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just like throughout the whole wedding of just like how beautiful it was, like the ambiance. I feel like the vibes were great and like the people, your guests, made it really what it was. So I want to know like, what was like your favorite part of the night? Which I know is like probably many things, of course, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But what was something that you will fully remember?
My favorite part of the wedding ceremony, for sure. I think like watching Leslie come down, right? That not only was like a very like good moment for me, or maybe the vows. I think like that's probably my favorite moment, just because like I agree with you. Everyone was immersed in our love and could feel our love, and I think the day was just so perfect, right? No rain, no nothing. Not violin. A harp playing in the back. It set the mood, and I think like overall, like that is where you have your moment to tell not only the people that's sharing that moment with you, but the person in front of you, how you feel and why you feel this way. I think that was like something special for me. And everyone got to witness it. So, of course, like I could talk about like the reception, all that stuff was fun. First dance, all this stuff, but like nothing compares to the ceremony. The ceremony was just, to me, like grade A, excellent. Our officiant, loved her, Kim. They did like a cacao ceremony, which was great. I thought it was like, what I did love too is like she kept it like deeply rooted in faith. And I think overall this ceremony just went so perfect that I didn't care how the rest of the night went. So yeah, that was like my favorite part, I would say. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. I love it. All right. So we're about to end the podcast very soon.
Okay.
But I want to do some rapid fire questions with you, okay?
Talk to me.
All right. One word to describe this chapter of your life.
One word to describe this chapter of my life. Damn. One word.
I thought that was a word. Damn.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Oh man. Cause I'm not in a place of like, come back to that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Biggest fear.
Biggest fear, dying alone.
Biggest blessing.
Biggest blessing. Twofold. I would say Winnie, my little dog. She is a blessing and a pain in the neck. But biggest blessing is like, I guess, sharing. We'll go back to the wedding. Being able to share like my love and my experience and everything to like everyone in that room, and it being received, right? And people feeling it. Because after the wedding, everyone says it. Yo, we really felt like this was a very authentic, like, love, all this stuff. It's like, because it is.
It was.
And, like, I'm happy it was received that way. So the biggest blessing is knowing that everyone saw that. Knowing that everyone felt that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I could have ever asked for. No tangible or whatever. Nothing could ever replace that. As long as it was felt that day, I'm cool.
Something you're still figuring out.
Something I'm still figuring out. How to express my emotions and not get angry, right? Because like I think like expressing vulnerability leads to arguments, anger, all this stuff. How do I do that even when it's not being received? How do I stay calm in my pocket and make sure like, all right, like either zoom out or continue pursuing like a conversation? But like being able to do that, I think is like, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Something you're still figuring out.
Something I'm still figuring out. Sorry. That's something I'm figuring out.
All right.
Yeah.
And a goal for the next 5 years.
Goal for the next 5 years? I think continuing to like what we spoke on earlier, right? Continuing to like work on that side of me that is willing to like express, but also like knowing that, the next 5 years I will have like a different lifestyle, right? I will hope to have kids, right? I will hope to have like be building a family, be building things for them. So like making sure like in the next 5 years, I am staying true to like planting those seeds for my like future generations of kids, and family, right? And making sure like they never have to worry in a sense. If I can start that in the next 5 years, however that looks, that's what I would see myself doing, right? And thinking of those different ways to do that, I guess.
Okay. And let's go back to the first question. What's one word
That describes my life now.
chapter of your life right
Chapter
now?
of my life. Okay. I would say this is a tough one, Ivory.
Was it stumped?
Yeah, it does. It does. This is not the easiest question. Cause like I almost want to go like to the word of like cause no, but that's not one word.
What
That's
is it
I'm
though?
struggling
What
with.
is it?
It's like I want to like encapsulate what I'm gonna say now into one word.
Mhm.
But learning how to break through vulnerability.
Okay.
I don't know how to say that in one word. So I think like that's what I'm struggling with. Is like, what word do I use?
Vulnerable.
No, not vulnerable, because vulnerable is like you're vulnerable.
Mhm.
But breaking through vulnerability is different.
Okay.
Let
us know in the comments.
Breakthrough.
Oh, never mind. See, that ChatGPT looked up real quick in your head. He was like, breakthrough. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, man. Listen, the human mind computes faster.
That part.
But nah, yeah, I appreciate this time. I think like I know this is the season finale, but I
Yeah.
also want to just give you your flowers too in the season finale, because not only you made this more than about chatting with your friends, right? You made this about really touching on key topics that, you know, you believe and we all believe that will touch others and touch the audience, right? Because we are all suffering in different ways, especially men, right? And I wanted to emphasize that just because it's important to like talk about these subjects, right? And I feel like that's why I was so open to coming on. Cause like I am very resistant to talking about these type of
You
things,
are.
right? Cause I feel like sometimes, you know, as men, we look at this as weakness, but I've learned it to be a strength, right? And I feel like the weak men view this as weakness, right? And I think that that's like very important to say, because you have opened the door for people to like start discussing these type of things, right? And this is out of your pocket, your investments, right? This isn't free. I want people to know that this isn't free. Ivory really pours time, money, effort into all of this. So like, it's really a big thank you for having not only me, but like a lot of other people share their stories and, you know, reach an audience that they never thought they could reach. Cause I think like there are many people that are probably like me, younger or older, right?
Yeah.
That can resonate with me. But I won't be, no one would ever know my story unless I speak it, right? Unless I say it. So I appreciate you, because this is also part of my process in building, right? Doing this is part of the process in building. So that's all thanks to you. And it's also part of what I always say. You're the most selfless person ever. And some people don't see that side of you, right? Some people don't know that about you. But I want people to know that, because you are always thinking about your friends or others. They don't got to be your friends. They could be somebody new, right?
Literally.
It could be somebody new, but you're always looking to put someone on, right? And I feel like part of your gift and what also makes you happy is being able to, in any way, right? So I just wanted to give you your flowers, because you got to give, I'm going to use a word that, I use a saying that Leslie said to her mom. You got to give people flowers when they can smell them,
Yeah.
right? So I wanted to give you your flowers, because it's very important that people let you know that, right? Because this podcast isn't just a hobby, right? It's more than that.
It is.
It's meant to be more than that. So people got to know that.
Thank you, Steven.
No problem.
But I just say, like, for me, like, as I'm ending the season now, the whole point of this podcast again was like my story, me personally, but like, I did not want to live for a while. So I said to myself in 2023, when I had to get myself together, what are the things that make me happy? And how can I continue? And I love podcasting. I love listening to podcasts. I said, why don't I create that for myself? Why don't I have people come on and talk about what we're struggling with and what is the solution? Or is there even a solution, you know? And to be able to, like, the last 2 years, build a community, still continuing, you know? And I have people all the time say, wow, you pay this much money for all 200 something. Yeah, I do. I sure do. I sure the fuck do. So for me, it's just like, I love it. And I just started realizing, like, this is my baby. Like, when I say, like, I watch episodes, it's like comfort episodes. I love when people even talk about your episode too, like who you are. Like, you have different themes, stuff like that. Like, somebody sees something in somebody else. And I love that about the podcast, you know? But it really just creates a conversation. And that's all I ever wanted, was to start the conversation, you know? And that's about getting older, man. And yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Season 2. We are wrapping up. But all right. Whew. Woo! All right, guys. This has been an amazing episode. Steven, again thank you for spending your time with me.
Thank you for
sharing
having
your truth. And you are going to touch a lot of people with that because a lot of people are dealing with what you're dealing with. Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I can't wait to hear the feedback, but whether negative or positive, either way.
We love it all. We can start the conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't care what people are saying about me.
Exactly.
But I also just want to say again, guys, thank you guys again so much for tuning in to Getting Older. I have to say, like I said, I'm so proud of this podcast. I'm so proud of the people that came on, that took the time to listen, you know. Again, we are learning, we are growing. There's so much to go through, you know. So I just want to say thank you guys again, really. Like it's just, I don't know what else to say, but thank you. But I will say that season 3 will be coming out this fall. I'm excited to change up the dynamic for Getting Older. It's definitely going to be a new vibe. I'm definitely going to have some stuff in the summer for Getting Older to keep Getting Older alive, but I definitely need a little bit of a summer reset because I have a lot of new changes coming to my life that will be revealed in season 3. And I'm excited for you guys to continue to grow with me. But again, like I said, as we're ending it off, it's so good though to have like a time capsule of where you were. I was in a place in my life where I was so like trying to get myself together, right? And I feel like the last 2 years of doing that was be able to look at myself, give myself a little bit more grace, learn to love myself, learn to own my truth, work out, do a year of sobriety, be able to just like be more vulnerable and more transparent with my people that I love, all in this season. And I could look back like, damn, I remember this episode, I was going through this moment, or this or that, or how I was saying about not wanting to be in love before, but now I want to be in love now, or learning how to process relationships and stuff like that. It's like so many different moments of growth, and I'm always going to be appreciated, especially for the season, because I feel like in the last 19 episodes, I'm not the same person as I was.
Nope.
So
yeah,
I just want to.
I want to touch on this because there's one question I did want to touch on. Before we do wrap up.
Yeah.
You just mentioned something about like love and everything. You gotta allow your mistakes, right, to be what feeds, right, success. Cause like I always love the metaphor of like you will never truly know the fruits of success unless you fail 1,000,000 times. And I feel like that falls into mistakes too. If we don't make mistakes, we won't really truly understand what it feels like to do the right things, right? So I think I try to like also like that's like a word of affirmation I always get on like my phone because I have like one of those apps. But I want to touch on that because I know you just mentioned that, right? And now you're like opening up, but like it's okay, right? And I think like it's one of those moments where you have to like really like accept those mistakes and come to an understanding of what they taught you. That way, like for you to truly like move forward. And I think you've done that exceptionally well.
Well,
right?
with love, well, I said this for you with love, and that's something I've always been like so scared about love because you know, like for me, like as a gay male, I just look at like I don't know like who wants me from me, you know, like I look at things and I'm just like I'm a great person, I'm a great catch, but I always looked at my romantic life like not so successful, I'll say, but I realized those were blessings for them not to be successful because I know the type of light that I carry and the person that I am, and I'm patient, you know, I'm not looking, I don't need a husband or this or that for me personally. Right now, I need myself. I need to keep on loving on myself. And whoever comes along will come along for me, you know? And that's something where I'm open to that. And again, you know, I never wasn't want to be open. I was so scared of rejection and fear and heartbreak. Because here's the thing, we're going to get a heartbroken no matter what. Whatever, it could be a family relationship, a friend. And I'm well aware of that. But I've learned not to be so scared.
Yeah. 1,000%. Sorry, I know we like closed off and we.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're riffing, but that's getting older, man. And yeah. But all right, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching the Getting Older podcast season 2. Again, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Please just stream all 19 episodes. And again, let's create the conversation. And I'm excited to see you guys back in the fall. And yeah, there's a lot of things coming up, guys. Thank you guys again so much for watching this podcast. I love this podcast. I love you, my brother.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you guys. All right. Bye.